Hey everybody, welcome back to the range. My name is Matt, the self-proclaimed king of armor destruction and the armor wizard Zap. This test has been a long time coming. I've actually had these plates in my possession for probably close to a year now, and I kind of debated when I wanted to test them because I kept getting other plates in to test, and I finally made a decision that we need to test these because we have some plates up and coming, say from Adept and Stealth Armor Systems that claim to be above and beyond these, so I want to get a baseline set. Without further ado, it's finally time to test our XSAPI plates. I have a small and medium strike face here. The small weighs 5 pounds 4 ounces and is 1.02 inches thick, or thereabouts, 26 millimeters. Our medium is 6 pounds and 1 inch thick as well. What makes our XSAPI so special is supposedly on paper they are rated to stop not 1, but 3 rounds of M993 armor piercing going, I think, 3,000 feet per second, so that should be our 22-inch barrel, if not even faster. In full transparency, I myself purchased these plates with the help of various Patreon supporters and different Redditors who have come forward to help me source some of these plates out. So if you guys want to help support me in any way, shape, or form, there's always that cool little super thanks down below the video that you can make direct donations to the channel. Or if you want to support me on Patreon for a month or two at $1, or maybe you need to buy something, say from My Medic or RMA, I've got discount codes and affiliate links in my little link tree below. So those are all the different ways to support me, because you're looking at close to over $1,000 right here for both of these plates. If you're no stranger to my channel, you know I do things very differently over here. I try to mimic a lot of the NIJ testing so that if we see a stoppage or penetration here, there's a good likelihood of when that's actually tested in a lab, you'll see similar results. So we shoot at 45 feet, that is the official NIJ testing distance. We shoot at 0 degrees because that's worst case scenario. We use a giant clay briefcase, it's about 90 pounds, filled with Roma Plastilina, #1 clay, donated by Chiffon. That acts as our compressible media to put the armor up against, and it keeps it pretty solidly mounted. It's only 70 degrees outside today, so I can't keep the 100-degree temperature that the clay needs to give us accurate representation, but it's mainly there for me to mount our plate up against. We also use a chronograph, a Pro Chronopal Digital DLX, placed at about 12 feet, because we need to know the velocity of that projectile. You know, I'm giving you muzzle velocity, but the bullet's not going to lose any more than 10 to 15 feet per second, if that, going an extra 30 feet. We put a spreadsheet here at the beginning that we foreshadow all the threats that we're going to shoot at it, and then at the end we fill it out with all the velocities as long as we obtain them, and if we double check for any penetrations. We also do a teardown video, and I'm talking a lot, since this employs a ceramic strike face, per the NIJ, we've gone ahead and dropped this on its face, or each plate on its face, 2 times as a preconditioning test. Given the rarity of these plates and their expected threat level, they're supposed to stop tungsten core threats even in the foreseeable future. At least that's kind of how they're described to me. We're going to start right with the threat profile for them, which is 3 shots of M993. This is a 130 grain tungsten core projectile. Cute little core there. We've got our 22-inch TC compass here with our Phantom M2 on here. So we should see right around 3,000 feet per second. We do have the 24-inch that we can go a little above and beyond if we need to. This should be in the upper left-hand part of the plate. $29.88. I'm going to place this one to the extreme right. Brass is a little sticky in this gun. And then this one, I'm going to place the lower left. That shot might have been a little low. I think I forgot to mention in the opening that I believe that XSAPI and ESAPI are considered in conjunction with plates with the rest of the interceptor armor or whatever it is that you need So we've actually placed a level 3A backer behind it. It's just a cheap Chinese, I think H-Win provided them, so they're good as a 3A backer. Before we go down and look at plate number 1, we're going to throw some 5.56 threats at this plate, and I pretty much picked out our pinnacle of performance, so to speak, for 5.56. We've got our TC Compass with a turbo 5.56 suppressor on there, so we're going to see maximum real-world velocity out of this. We have M855A1, that is the Army's current issue ball round, 62 grains, but it has a copper core. People think it has a steel core. It's copper core with a little arrowhead steel tip on there, Rockwell hardened 60. Then we have M995, that is the Army's current armor piercing round in 5.56. It's 52 grains with a tungsten core. I think it's moving about 3,400 feet per second in this. We've tested it in the past. Alumina strike faces have been able to stop it. I do believe this is a boron carbide or possibly silicon carbide strike face, so it's going to be a little iffy. Then we just have some regular M193 ball, 55 grain full metal jacket. Someone thought that those had a tungsten core. They do not. Lead. We're going to take the M995 shots first, then the A1, then the 193. Bear in mind, in actual profiling these plates for threats, typically they're only going to sometimes shoot 3 threats at one plate, or the NIJ spec level 3 is 6 shots, or NIJ level 4 is 1 shot. Then they move on to the next plate. Given, again, that these plates cost a lot of money and are nearly impossible to acquire, we have to put as many shots on a plate as possible. So this should be right above where it says handle. (3,300 feet per second. Then this should be right above where it says care, because I care for you guys. I love you guys. That might have said air. Then our A1 shots, I'm going to place above those last 2 shots, below where it says strike face. Now our M193, this one will be in the middle above where it says width. Huh. I'm not sure where I just put that one. Equipment malfunctions. I think I need a new 22-inch barrel. This one will be below width. That was right where I wanted it. This one will be in the bottom corner above the weight. All right, let's go see what we did. All right, we have all of our ducks in a row. We got our shots labeled. There may be a couple shots in a lab testing environment that may not be considered fair hits, but in the combat zone or in real life, all hits are considered fair. M993 shot number 1, number 2, number 3 was down here. Then our M995 shots, number 1 and 2 were right here. Those are dead center in the plate. Those are definitely fair hits. Our A1 shots, number 1, 2, and 3, all right in a row. Quack, quack. Then our M193 shot, number 1 was right there. I wanted it right there. I'm not sure if you consider that a fair hit or not. Shot number 2 was right there, and then shot number 3 was all the way down there. Helper hand. R.A.N.G.E. We have 2 penetrations. Our second shot of M993 and our first shot of M995. I don't remember if that second shot recorded velocity or it recorded in air or not. And I have to look at what the spec is for M995. That one's pretty darn close to the edge. But this one down here, That one stopped it. And then look at the back face. Typically, with most of our ceramic polyethylene constructed plates, 308 threats show considerable amount of back face on here. So we're using a lot of high-end materials on this plate. Our A1 and M193, those kind of just were for shits and giggles. They were stopped, no problem. Now we're not sure if they're using boron or carbide, or boron carbide or silicon carbide. I think it might be boron. Normally with silicon, it like really gets your hands dirty, dark gray really quickly. This tends to rub off. Now, we put our 3A backer behind here. How? Only the M993 poked through. That M995 shot that penetrated right there was stopped in our 3A backer. My best advice were, if you were to buy these plates, they 5 pounds 4 ounces, probably buy yourself a nice quality 3A backer to put behind them, just in case. So far, very impressive results. Our back face, like I said, the clay is cold, so we're just getting a representation. Our armor destruction would not be complete without the 300 Win Chad. We got our 24-inch TC compass here, Yankee Hill Phantom M2 here. I have some very interesting threats that, based on the M993 performance, I'm not sure what's going to happen. But I've got our M2 armor piercing. That is our original 300 Win Chad load. This is plus P+. We should be seeing 3,200 feet per second. We have our Swiss PAP. That is a 196 grain tungsten core. And our velocity target is like 2650. I couldn't get there in 308. So we've got, again, our 300 Win Chad. I've got M80A1 and M14A1. The M14A1 is originally a 30-06 API load, very, very bright flash, love that round. And then our M80A1's originally 130 grain in our 308. We're gonna take the, oops, if I'm dropping everything, our VPAM 12 threat first. That's our 196 grain tungsten core round. We're gonna put this right on the center of the plate, well, the left center of the plate, I should say. So this should be right about where it says handle. $25.89, so we're really close to our spec, right where we wanted. Now we're gonna shoot our plus P plus M2 AP. This should give us a good idea of how much back face we can produce, because usually plates will stop this if they have really good ceramic. So this will be probably right where it says medium, the ending M. $3,200, yeah! And then this one, I'm going to place in the lower right-hand corner. Okay, and now we'll take our API and M80A1 shot. We'll do the M80A1 first. We should see 3,400 feet per second out of this. This I'm going to place the lower left-hand corner. Did not get a velocity reading off that, I'm sorry folks. Then our M14 A1 API is going to be back on the right side of the plate. I don't know if you guys could see that bright flash from the extra camera, but I love that stuff. I really need some more of it. A big thanks to Polygun Bags, where I've sourced some of these cool and obscure ammunition sources.
Ooh, so much fire, so satisfying.
The one thing I've noticed about our XSAPI and now our XSAPI plate is that the strike face seems to be able to hold up to quite a bit of numerous hits. So we're going to take 2 more shots of our M2AP plus P plus wind shad at this, and then we're going to go down and see what carnage awaits us. This will be upper left of the plate. .3200 feet per second, yeah. And then this one's going to be in the center, kind of where the instructions and care is. Was that 3,300 feet per second? I can't read our screen. How much? 3,307. Oh, let's go see what we did, folks. I believe we have all fair hits on this guy. Our VPAM threat was right there. We were a little slow for spec, but it's kind of hard to work up those loads when they're very unique bullets. Then our plus P plus shots number 1 and 2. Then the M80A1 shot right there in our 300 wind shad. Then the API was there. Then we took 2 more shots of our plus P plus right here and here. Place those bets in the comments below. Helper hand. Whoop. R.A.N.G.E. We had penetrations from those last 2 shots of our plus P plus, but considering we took all these other shots beforehand, that's impressive. Now, it looks like from down here we have a penetration on the second shot of our plus P plus, but let's see here. We'll have to double check this mess here, but it's possible that it was stopped in our 3A backer. We will peel off this and get this torn down and verify any other penetrations. But I have to say, if you had to compare this to a NIJ level, this would probably be a NIJ level 5 and or 6. Obviously that doesn't exist, but this is stopping advanced tungsten core threats. This is a lot of my followers' favorite part of these videos, is the teardown, where we kind of see what the material makeup of some of these plates are and make our best guesstimations as to material types. Here is our strike face, or what's left of it, all over the table. I kind of believe that this is boron carbide, because if this, like I said, were silicon carbide, it wouldn't like come off my hands as easy as I can get it to come off. Like, it stains. It's not staining it, it's there, but I don't know. BAE Systems would have to tell us what material this is, and I doubt they even see this video or know I exist. So this is our second plate. Our penetrations were our M2AP plus P plus, all 3 of these. This one was stopped in our 3A backer. These 2 penetrated 3A backer. And look at this little tiny guy right there. That is our VPAM 12 threat, the Swiss PAP with the tungsten core 196 ring. That actually penetrated, or at least part of the core did, to penetrate what is a pressed polyethylene backer at approximately 370 thousandths thick, but that was also stopped in our 3A backer. When I mentioned being pressed, these layers cannot be thumbed through like a book after they've taken hits. You can see it's kind of starting to come apart, but it's held its shape pretty well. There's our little nylon cover backer. Here is our strike face. Like we've seen with HESCO and some of the other higher end manufacturing, we have some kind of laminate like fiberglass or maybe aramid fibers that the strike face is being laminated to keep it together as many hits as possible. On the XSAPI plate that I originally tested, there was what was called a crack arrestor, which was a thin piece of steel or alloy plate behind that. These do not have it. We have a white foam perimeter on this to protect it against drops. It does have edge-to-edge ceramic strike face. I measured the strike face at about 390 to 400 thousandths thick, depending on where we were at on the curvature. And then up front, we've got this foam right here. It's pretty firm, but it seemed to do a pretty good job at protecting the strike face against drops. We didn't hear any cracking after doing the drop testing on this. And this also can help keep the ceramic together. Didn't notice too much in the way of fragmentation coming off the plate. So it's plate number 2. Plate number 1, the small, constructed the exact same. There's the foam with our ceramic strike face. There's what's left of the ceramic strike face. Some part number or something up there. And then our polyethylene backer. Again, you can see is pressed. Our M993 penetration. And then our M995. Very, very interesting. As far as putting plates together, this is probably one of the better ones I've seen. I would like to see some more adhesion between this, or the backer, and the strike face, but overall, solid performing plate. Well, folks, I think the only place to go from here is up. I think our XSAPI plates are definitely a cream of the crop above anything the NIJ threat system can account for. We stopped a lot of our tungsten core specialty threats at 45 feet. Now, given in a real world scenario, those kind of engagements with those rounds and those firearms is going to be many hundreds of yards downrange. I have a good feeling that most of those rounds would be stopped. Again, we're always testing worst case scenario, so you know if at 45 feet some of these rounds are stopped. Going beyond that is even more confidence in these particular plates. We wanted to get the XSAPIs tested so we had a good baseline for, again, some of these obscure threats, because we have the Colossus plate from Adept to test. We have Stealth Armor Systems Dragon Skin 4+, and their Hexar 4, which he has actual NIJ lab threat ratings for 3 hits of M993. He has a nice little cover on there that says die, bullet, die. With all that being said, it's time for me to get the heck out of here. I got a traditional 5x5 back squat tomorrow and some other workout that I won't know until midnight what it is. But at the end of all my videos, I take a moment to thank all those who help make these possible, because there's a lot that goes into them. Number 1 is my Patreon and Subscribe Star fans. I have a link tree in the description below. So if you're looking to make any purchases from like RMA, you know, my discount code's Buffman. That earns me a sales credit. It costs you nothing. I have some other affiliates in there. One of them is My Medic. They actually sent over a MyFac. This is just a loadout of very basic first aid supplies. And what I like about this from the get-go, we just kind of thumbed through it, is a lot of this stuff is labeled in little pouches for like bleeding and aches and pains and burns. And for someone like my son Deacon here who likes first aid stuff, if there ever was a situation that arises, because I'm out here by myself, so I bring some of this stuff, or he's out here with me, and I say, quick, I've cut myself and I need something to control the bleeding, a lot of this stuff is labeled in here so that he's 7 years old, he can read quite a bit of this stuff. He can actually go through and get this stuff a lot quicker. And of course, number 2 is you all for watching. Until next time, I'll catch you at the range.